In the courtyard of Zayd's palace, the centuries slide back again. A moment ago, Zayd was the modern oil tycoon, aloof and decisive. Now he's back in the role of sheikh, the universal uncle to his people, the feudal lord with his followers, in procession to the daily feast. To the tribesmen of the desert, used to bread and dates in the sand, Zayd's table is a revelation. It's loaded with more food than many of them have ever seen, and it really is a table, and not just the floor. The idea of a free meal for all Zayd's followers is traditional, and he rarely sits down with less than 50 men. But the forms and the food are new. Money talks here through waiters in black ties, through plates and soup spoons, and a whole new ritual of table manners to master. Like the newly rich in any part of the world, the Arabs of Abu Dhabi are learning to keep up with the Joneses. Snobbery is the latest local vice.
يمكن هناك شيء سر
These are our rulers.
These are our rulers.
Good. What's this?
That's the door.
Yes, say, that's the door.
That's the door.
What's that?
That's the ceiling.
And what's this?
This is the
While the fathers learn new manners, a few of their sons learn new tongues.
That's the ceiling.
Foreign languages and foreign teachers bring foreign ideas.
That's the ceiling. Yes.
That's the ceiling.
Yes.
This is the floor.
Good.
Here's a pencil.
Good.
Here's a ruler. There's a picture. Say it again.
Good. Now all together, stand up. Yes, that's the window. Huh. That's the window.
That's the door. That's the ceiling. This is the floor. Here's a pencil. Here's a ruler. There's a picture. Say it again.
فإذا انشقت السماء وكانت فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
But the old ways are still the only ways for most of Arabia's children. Schools like this, where the boys learn the Holy Quran by heart, haven't changed in 1,000 years. It's still the only sort of school most kids ever see, if they're lucky enough to see a school at all. The romance of the old Arabia was always a bit of an illusion. In reality, the place was, and still is, full of desperate poverty and sickness. There wasn't a single hospital in Abu Dhabi until a few years ago, and doctors were hardly ever seen. Now there's this American mission hospital, overburdened, overcrowded, forced to compromise, like everything in Arabia, between modern standards and old habits.
It's something that we have not wanted to exist, these patients being in all together, but we've been working on it, and we haven't come up with a good answer, simply because we don't have enough staff to watch all the doors. We lock the front door, and they come in the back door or the side door. So we have gotten sort of used to it over the years, so that now we don't mind it much. When they're all in there together, it's their hard luck if they can't have the privacy of a personal examination from the doctor. The little children often have diarrheas or fever, colds and sores and abscesses and such to take care of. And then the local Arabs seem to have their share of accidents, falling out of a palm tree or off of a camel. And they seem to be sort of dangerous. They may fracture a limb or break a hip. And most all of the people are suffering from eye ailments of one sort or another. From the youngest child to the oldest man, with the ailment of trachoma, which is about 99% prevalent here. Many of them are suffering from tuberculosis. More and more we are detecting this disease as we go on with X-ray. تمام هذا.
تمام؟
تمام هذا. الحين نريد نفس صدرك شوية ها؟
ما رايك؟
بس من هني هم؟
Tradition still throws a veil around the women of Arabia that even the doctor can't quite penetrate. His examinations here are probings in the dark.
وين يعرج أكثر؟ هني؟ شوية هني؟ شو هذا؟ هذا أوقي من أول؟
وسم ذي.
وسم.
The women are the most conservative force of all, secluded, unchanging, uneducated, and fatalistic. They accept their lot meekly, and they do their duty faithfully as the handmaidens and chattels of men. But for how much longer? When even under the thorn bush the doctor arrives with his medicine, and every jab with a syringe becomes a sort of revolution.
يبرد جديد.
Some of it may be still a bit like faith healing. No doctor's skill could have cured this man's tuberculosis. The most that medicine could do was to give him a sort of comfort on the way to death. But if the 20th century medicine doesn't always work, it does challenge that submission to the will of God that accepts death whenever it likes to strike. So Islam itself comes under attack. God's will always seems more flexible when you can meet it with a millionaire's money.
I have the honor to present the estimates for Abu Dhabi for the year 1967. The total revenue, as estimated, is 41,202,080 dinars.
For the ruler, the days are over when he had so little money that nobody cared how he spent it. Now Zaid must have a budget and a British accountant to keep the books.
Development expenditure is estimated at 23,275,671 dinars.
Every penny is another nail in the coffin of the old Arabia, and maybe in the life of Zaid too.
Dinar. You haven't included the airport building here, the terminal building.
The airport building hasn't been tendered for.
It hasn't been tendered for. But this goes in the lump sum, does?
That goes in the lump sum of 10 million down here, yes. When I said that this included all the expenditure, there are things like the police, for instance, where it's impossible to get a true estimate. We have to wait for the arrival of the new people to give us these estimates. I've put in 1/3 dinars for them to give them authority to spend.
Outside Zaid's office, time still seems endless and patience still comes easily. His people have given up their lives to Allah. What God wills, they still accept. But the signs of dissolution are all around them, like the leisurely old world's cast-off furniture and the new office chairs that are waiting to take its place. As the offices grow, the people seem to shrink. When Zaid was simply the leader of a tribe, these men could meet him every day. Now he's the administrator of a modern state. He's forced to shut them out of his life. They can only wait while the world moves in a business suit. Even Zaid is a little less sure of himself. He can ask the new questions and make new demands, but who can give him the answers?
You see, His Highness, for this year, of course, we're giving him something very approximate.
Yeah.
But for next year's, he'd like it as precise as possible.
Well, I'm hoping that the exercise in the coming year will give us the material for next year, but at the moment there's nothing to go on.
From their uncertainty about the new way of life, Zaid and his men go back to the desert as often as they can. The desert is still home, the place they knew before they were rich, and the only place they will really know until the day